Hi friends, today I'm going to read a beautiful short story by Ruskin Bond to you all. It was written in 1970s, and as I'll proceed with the story, you will see that the whole atmosphere that is created in the story is very enchanting, and it's a very good and romantic story as it is. And I read it yesterday in one of the book of short stories by Ruskin Bond, and I wanted to share it with you. So it's quite a long story consisting of I guess 20 to 25 pages. I'll be reading it in parts, probably 10 parts or 11 parts. So if you want to listen this short story, you can listen. Okay, it will be in parts. The name of the story is Love is a Sad Song. It is about a beautiful love story between Ruskin Bond and a girl named Shamli, and it shows the quite intimate relationship and how the relationship unfolds and what happens as the story proceeds. And you will enjoy it if you enjoy a good romantic stories. So let's proceed. Love is a Sad Song by Ruskin Bond. So I sit against this grey rock beneath a sky of pristine blueness and think of you, Sushila. So the name of the girl is Sushila, and Ruskin Bond is writing as a first person. So, and I think of you, Sushila. It is November, so it's probably winter, and the grass is turning brown and yellow, crushed. It still smells sweet. The afternoon sun shimmers on the oak leaves and turns them a glittering silver. A cricket sizzles its way through the long grass. The stream murmurs at the bottom of the hill. So there's a hill just outside that room of Ruskin Bond. He can see the hill, and a stream flows at the bottom of the hill. That stream where you and I lingered on a golden afternoon in May. So he's writing in November, but he's remembering about May. I sit here and think of you and try to see your slim brown hand resting against this rock, feeling its warmth. I am aware again of the texture of your skin, the coolness of your feet, the sharp tingle of your fingerprint. In the pastures of my mind, I run my hand over your quivering mouth and crush your tender breasts. Remembered, passion grows sweeter with the passing of time. So it's a very good line. Remembered, passion grows sweeter with the passing of time. You will not be thinking of me now as you sit in your home in the city, cooking or sewing or trying to study for examinations. There will be men and women and children circling around you because Sushila at that time she lives in a joint family in Delhi, and as in the case of the joint family there will be many people around you. So he writes there will be men, women and children circling about you in that crowded house of your grandmother's. So she lives with her grandmother, and you will not be able to think of me for more than a moment or two. But you do think of me sometimes, in some private moment which cuts you off from the crowd. You will remember how I wondered what it is all about, this lovely and this loving, and why it should cause such an upheaval. You are still a child, Sushila, and yet you found it easy to quieten my impatient heart. So at At the time of writing this story, the age of Ruskin Bond is about 30 and Sushila is less than 20 years old. On the night you came to stay with us. Now he remembers about the past when Sushila came to stay with Ruskin Bond and his friend. On the night you came to stay with us, the light from the street lamp shone through the branches of the beech tree and made leaf patterns on the wall. Through the glass panes of the front door, I caught a glimpse of little Sunil's face, bright and questioning, and then a hand, a dark, long fingered hand that could only have belonged to you. It was almost a year since I had seen you, my dark and slender girl. So Sushila is a dark and slender girl. She has a little brother named Sunil. And now you were in your 16th year. So she is 16th year, 16 years old. And Sunil was 12. And your uncle Dinesh, who lived with me, was 23. So Sushila's uncle Dinesh, he used to live with Ruskin Bond. And I was almost 30, a fearful and wonderful age when life becomes dangerous for dreamers. So he always considered himself as a dreamer. So that's why he says that life become dangerous for dreamers. I remember that when I left Delhi last year, you cried. At first I thought it was because I was going away. Then I realized that it was because you could not go anywhere yourself. Did you envy my freedom? The freedom to live in a poverty of my own choosing. The freedom of the writer. So he's a writer. Ruskin Bond is a writer. And he questions that whether Sushila, she envy his freedom, and his with freedom comes poverty. So he is also poor, but he is free because he is a writer. Sunil, to my surprise, did not show much emotion at my going away. This hurt me a little because during that year he had been particularly close to me and I felt for him a very special love. But separations cannot be of any significance to small boys of 12 who live for today and tomorrow, and if they are very serious, the day after. Before I went away with Dinesh, you made us garlands of marigolds. They were orange and gold, fresh and clean, and kissed by the sun. Kissed by the sun means that they are very bright yellowish in color, and they were open, they were not buds. You garlanded me as I sat talking to Sunil. I remember you both. As you looked at Dave, Sunil's smile dimpled his cheeks while you gazed at me very seriously, your expression very tender. I loved you even then. Our first picnic. Now he remembers about his first picnic with Sushila and Sunil. The path to the little stream took us through the oak forest where the flashy blue magpies played Follow My Leader with their harsh, creaky calls, skirting an open ridge, the place where I now sit and write. The path dipped through oak, rhododendron, and maple until it reached a little knoll above the stream. It was a spot unknown to the tourist and summer visitors. Sometimes a milkman or woodcutter crossed the stream on the way to town or village, but no one lived beside it. Wild roses grew on the banks. I do not remember much of that picnic. There was a lot of dull conversation with her neighbors, the Kapoors. So, where Ruskin Bond lives, he has neighbors, and the name of the neighbor is the Kapoors, who had come along too. You and Sunil were rather bored. Dinesh looked preoccupied. He was fed up with college. He wanted to start earning a living, wanted to paint. His restlessness often made him moody, irritable. Near the knoll, the stream was too shallow for bathing. but I told Sunil about a cave and a pool further downstream and promised that we would visit the pool another day. That same night after dinner, we took a walk along the dark road that goes past the house and leads to the burning heart. Sunil, who had already sensed the intimacy between us, took my hand and put it in yours. An odd, touching little gesture. So Sunil, who is Sushila's younger brother, he takes Ruskin Bond's hand and places it in Sushila's hand for the first time. Then Sunil said, "Tell us a story." I told you the story of the pure in heart. A shepherd boy found a snake in the forest. The snake told the boy that it was really a princess who had been bewitched and turned into a snake, and it could only recover its human form if someone who was truly pure in heart gave it 3 kisses on the mouth. The boy put his lips on the mouth of the snake and kissed it thrice, and the snake was transformed into a beautiful princess, but the boy lay cold and dead. You always tell sad stories, complained Sunil. I like sad stories, you said. Tell us another. Tomorrow night I am sleepy, I said. We were woken in the night by a strong wind, which went whistling round the old house, and came rushing down the chimney, humming and hawing, and finally choking itself. Sunil woke up and cried out, "What's that noise, uncle?" "Only the wind," I said. "Not a ghost." "Well, perhaps the wind is made up of ghosts. Perhaps the wind contains the ghosts of all the people who have lived and died in this old house and want to come in again from the cold. You told me about a boy who had been fond of you in Delhi." Now Ruskin Bond is talking about Sushila's boyfriend, or a boy who likes Sushila, and he lives in Delhi. Apparently, he had visited the house on a few occasions and had sometimes met you on the street while you were on your way home from school. At first, he had been fond of another girl, but later he switched his affections to you. When you told me that he had written to you recently and that before coming to you, before coming up, you had replied to his letter, I was consumed by jealousy. So it was a pure human emotion when a person gets jealous of another person because of liking the same girl. So you would know. I was consumed by jealousy, an emotion which I thought I had grown out of long ago, because he was 30 years old and still he was behaving like a teenager. It did not help to be told that you were not serious about the boy, that you were sorry for him because he had already been disappointed in love. If you feel sorry for everyone who has been disappointed in love, I said, you will soon be receiving the affections of every young man over 10. Let them give me their affection, you said, and I will give them my chappal over their heads. But spare my head, I said. Have you been in love before? You asked. Many times. But this is the first time. And who is your love? You asked. Haven't you guessed? Sunil, who was following our conversation with deep interest, seemed to revel in the situation. Probably he fancied himself playing the part of Cupid or Kamadev, and delighted in watching the arrows of love strike home. No doubt I made it more enjoyable for him, because I could not hide my feelings. Soon Dinesh would know too, and then Dinesh is your uncle, and soon Dinesh will know too about our love, and then a year ago my feelings about you were almost paternal. Yeah, it had to be paternal because Ruskin Bond was 30 years old and Sushila was just 16 years old. Or so I thought, but you are no longer a child and I am a little older too. For when the night after the picnic, You took my hand and held it against your soft, warm cheek. It was the first time that a girl had responded to me so readily, so tenderly. Perhaps it was just innocence, but that one action of yours, that acceptance of me, immediately devastated my heart. Gently, fervently, I kissed your eyes and forehead, your small round mouth, and the lobes of your ears, and your long smooth throat, and I whispered, Sushila, I love you. I love you. I love you. In the same way that millions and millions of love smitten young men have whispered since time immemorial. What else can one say? I love you. I love you. There's nothing simpler, nothing that can be made to mean any more than that. And what else did I say? That I would look after you and work for you and make you happy. And that, too, had been said before. And I was in no way different from anyone. I was a man, and yet I was a boy again. So, for now, it's only this much, but I'll continue with this if you like. And take care, guys. Bye.